Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the show where we cover nerd news from all kinds of fandoms that happened in the past week since our last show, and it's brought to you by us, the folks at Nerd Caliber. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor in chief of Nerd Caliber. I am first person shooter on Facebook and Burley underscore adopter on Twitter and a couple of other places. Joining me tonight is, let's see, we're going to go counterclockwise. So we're going to start with the man with the wonderful white cap, Lewis, if you would.
Hey everyone, it's Louis Correa back on here with the stream. Looking forward to have a wonderful conversation tonight with my friends. You can also check me out on Twitch, Crash the Stampede, if you ever want to pop in and see any of my streams. I tend to, at the moment, stream only on Sundays. Jobs kind of get in the way, real life kind of gets in the way, but I'm looking forward to do some additional streaming with some of my friends who can join in and we can talk about things like that. But for the show here, I'm also a co-producer with Nerd Caliber, along with these fantastic people, all of them who are great people. You should look them up individually. And if you're in the
I'm
comment
not, but
section tonight, shush you. If you're in the comment section tonight, by all means, this is a live show, so chime in there, and we can get to your comments if possible within the allotted time. But otherwise, we want to hear your thoughts. So by all means, jump in.
absolutely. And sticking with the left side of my screen, red shirts. Hopefully, that's not an indication of what's going to happen to you during the show. Greg, if you would.
Well, I figure I got about 10 good minutes left. I should probably get a drink. Hi everybody, Greg Snyder, aka Wonder Llama Photography, and occasionally cosplay. It's been a while. Hoping to get back into it. Longtime partner, associate editor, and contributor here at Nerd Caliber. Always fun to spend a Tuesday evening with these lovely people. We got some cool stuff out there. I think another week where everybody's got kind of their wheelhouse as a topic or two. Um, so we should have some cool stuff to talk about. And anybody that's out there, as Crash said, anybody that's out there watching Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, throw some comments in there. Always happy to see what you guys think about stuff, and we'll hit you up. And last but not least, check out Red Raven Studios on Facebook, on the web, on Instagram. It is our photography studio just south of Boston. So if you're in the area, you're interested in some crazy photo shoots, hit us up.
Absolutely. Check that stuff out. And the man with the stylish cap, Byron, if you would.
Hello, denizens of the interwebs. It is your boy Byron McNeil, aka Byron D0, on multiple facets of the internet. Happy to be here with my boys, talking some nerdy shiz, and looking forward to some entertaining comments. Don't bore me, guys. I am a contributing writer, content creator. I wear a bunch of hats here at this site. I'm also the baby of the group. I've been here. Yeah, when you really think about it, I am the baby of the group. And aside from that, I like to pimp my art. So if you want to see some cool art, I got some new stuff coming up pretty soon. Check out BD0Art on Instagram. That's BDZEROART on Instagram. Look for the Laughing Man style logo.
Cool, cool. All right, folks, and on the chat already, Jose Mendez, welcome to the show. Takira Rodriguez, welcome to the show. Once again, if you got any commentary on any of the topics that we're going to be covering tonight, once you hear them, jump right in with any questions, comments, or observations. So we're going to start right off with the first bit of news, and that is, of course, Spider-Man. That is a speculative image from the upcoming third Spider-Man movie in the Sony Marvel collaboration. That's the word I'm looking for. But the
Yes.
news is that Disney and Sony have reached a multi-year deal for getting previous Spider-Man movies in the Sony oeuvre on Disney Plus for the very first time. And it includes a lot of other stuff too, like back catalogs like Jumanji, Hotel Transylvania, and so on. And that's really cool because that is yet another indication of the collaboration between these two companies, which will hopefully continue to lead into more Spider-Man movies, and maybe even Marvel getting involved in the spin-offs like Venom sequels and so on. So big news.
I love this.
Can they bring back the '80s cartoon? That's all I want to see.
I don't know that Sony owns
jeez.
that.
I don't care who owns it. Disney, go get it.
Oh, jeez. I think that's on Disney Plus, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right, I'll go check that out.
Oh,
I think-
yes.
I think this is a pretty decent collaboration because I'll be honest, I'm not in the camp of Disney / Marvel owning literally everything forever. Amen, because that just sets really bad precedences for companies monopolizing a whole lot of things. So Sony recognizing that they have an asset that they can like squeeze the titty of the mouse from is something I would do that all day,
Yeah.
every day.
Ooh, that brain image. All right.
That's okay. Well, it's interesting that it's a licensing agreement, not selling the catalog or
Mm-hmm.
selling the entire portfolio, whatever. Probably recognition on Sony's part that make money while you can. Who knows? Maybe 5 years from now, we'll all be burned out from all things Marvel, all things DC, all things superhero.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say they're definitely playing the long game because there's more money to be made in in making this kind of deal as opposed to just selling these IPs or selling these licenses outright. And like Lewis said, it's smart. It's that's like some Doc Ock level of like mastery.
Now, I think what this really bizarre insider term means was that this deal is for, quote, post-pay one release window, is that they get the first crack at it after any kind of pay-per-view. So once it's off, the pay-per-view on, rental on Amazon Prime or so on, the first thing it goes to is either Disney Plus or Hulu is apparently part of this deal as well.
Ooh.
So I guess that's depending upon whatever Disney Plus decides is the best location for the particular property as to which one it goes to. I'm guessing Hulu is going to be the somewhat more adult things.
I imagine that Venom, the new Venom movie is probably going to be on Disney Plus since it's so closely linked to the Spider-Man IP.
Although I would think maybe Hulu. I mean, it might be a little too. Well, it's not really gory. Although he does, he eats people. So
Yeah.
that it might. I'm thinking that one would land on Hulu. Takira Rodriguez. I love Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I'm with you 100% on
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of people tend to misunderstand with Sony in general because a lot of people are like, well, Sony doesn't produce great movies. They're definitely going to go bankrupt and like sell like assets to Disney.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You know anything about Sony and all the other divisions that they have, you'd kind of rethink that.
Yeah, like Sony owns. Well, Sony's got their own little monopoly going on, like in the anime industry with Funimation and Crunchyroll. Bunch of
At least in the West, distributing them in the West here.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so, I mean, Sony could fund every single movie it wants to make off of just what it's made off of the 2 Spider-Man Marvel collaborations so far. So,
Facts.
All right. Moving on to our next topic. And this dropped really late, but I really like this information. I'm very keen on this news, and that is, of course, Ironheart that just appeared on your screen. We know that there's a Marvel series coming about Ironheart. The news is that Disney Plus has picked the head writer, and that is somebody named Chinaka Hodge, who I knew nothing about until I did a little bit of looking into this, or like actually reading the article in depth. So I guess that's looking into this. So Chinaka Hodge is a screenwriter, poet, playwright, educator. Worked as a screenwriter for the Apple Plus reboot of Amazing Stories and the recent TNT series Snowpiercer, which is starring Daveed Diggs, and she is apparently also a founding member of the hip hop collective The Get Back, along with Diggs and some other people.
I am familiar with that name, actually.
So I think this is the perfect choice, or a perfect choice, for somebody to guide the story of Riri Williams. I mean,
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Snowpiercer, the TV series, is incredible.
I haven't seen it because I liked the movie, but I didn't like the movie that much. But I hear the same thing from everybody who's watched it.
I will say that I'm really excited to see someone that has like this level, like that has the like only like 2 degrees of separation from Lin-Manuel Miranda working on something of this caliber. It's like that, like they're all talented creatives in their own rights.
Yep.
And if she's like that close with Daveed Diggs, I can't wait to see what she does with this character. I imagine she's going to put a lot of emphasis on her culture as a black woman in America. I mean, a la Falcon and Winter Soldier.
And I don't recall Riri Williams ever doing anything like, rapping or freestyling in the comics, but if they sort of just add that as an aspect of her character, I'm fine. If that's just another way to flesh out, how she's connected to her culture, and we get to hear, raps by somebody who's in a group with Daveed Diggs.
Yes, count me in.
I don't remember. Is this live action or animated? I know we talked
live
about
action.
This is a live action. Yep.
Cool.
I wouldn't mind that stuff in the background. I just wouldn't want the character to be doing that, because historically we spend way too much time having people of color do stereotypical things.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah, that's true. And Riri is so not stereotypical of anybody. 15-year-old at MIT.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Riri's a total nerd.
Yep. Anyway, so good news. We don't know when Ironheart. Actually, it might be on some announcement schedule, but I don't think I've seen when Ironheart actually hits any kind of broadcast or
see what I can find.
Disney Plus.
It'll be very interesting to see how they do this. To be honest, because in the comic books, she was starting to be mentored by Tony Stark before he died.
Right.
And this is a whole different thing where that didn't happen. So I don't know if they're going to do a little slight retcon, or they're just not going to go in that direction at all. It'd be kind of cool. And it'd be cool if Spider-Man showed up, since he's also mentored by Tony Stark.
They could actually do it, in the start in media race, as they say, where, it's after Tony's gone, and she is like Spider-Man is in the second Spider-Man movie, Tom Holland movie, just absolutely destroyed and missing her mentor. That might be a little bit too close to that Spider-Man movie, but I could see that being a way to go too.
Oh, hear me out, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Hear me out though. I could see Rhodey, Don Cheadle like coming in, seeing the potential that she has, seeing a lot of his best friend in her, and then he stumbled across her makeshift armor.
Or having the fact that she basically, reverse engineered the Iron Man suit to build her own suit, be part of the start of the impetus of the Armor Wars series.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Like maybe it'll take place somewhere somewhere alongside the Armor Wars series.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be hella cool.
That's like my favorite Iron Man storyline, by the way.
Yes, that is. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that is my favorite. Demon in the Bottle. Tough to beat that one.
That one was too heavy.
Yeah, that's true. All right, moving on to not a heavy topic, but kind of tangentially related to the Broadway stuff that we were talking about before with Daveed Diggs and Lin-Manuel Miranda. That is the image. That image is the cast for the upcoming adaptation of the graphic novel Paper Girls, which is being turned into a series at Amazon. We've talked about this before. Well, they finally cast the 4 girls, and they are in order of what's on your screen right now, from left to right. Sophia Rosinski, Riley Lai Nele, Fina Straza, and Cameron Jones. I know nothing about any of these people other than what's in the article, except apparently Riley Lai Nele was in Altered Carbon and played the young Rylene when doing in the flashbacks of Kovacs remembering his sister. So I've seen that character or that actress, but none of the others in any of the other things they've done, except that Straza is apparently a Broadway veteran already.
Really?
Yeah, made her debut on Broadway at 8 years old in the title role of the musical Matilda the Musical.
Oh, wow.
Went on to star in Mariah Carey's directorial debut on Hallmark Channel, The Christmas Melody. So I'm guessing she can sing.
Sounds like it.
But anyway, that's not, as far as
I
I
mean,
know,
Matilda was a musical.
yeah, it's not required for the role. Paper Girls is the story of a bunch of paper delivery girls instead of paper boys in the late 80s who get caught up in some really weirdness with time travelers and a war to fix time, and it's nuts. It's a graphic novel written by Brian K. Vaughan and was just a huge hit as an indie
Ooh.
graphic novel when it came out.
So, from what you told me, I'm already getting some strong Stranger Things vibes.
True. I think Paper Girls came out before the first
Of course.
series of Stranger Things, but yeah, similar idea. Sort of think Stranger Things and Umbrella Academy's time travel stuff.
Oh, nice.
Sounds funky.
It
Sounds dope.
dope ass.
French.
I'm trying to think. Oh, by the way, it all happens. It starts anyway on the night before Halloween in 1988. In previous articles, we may have said if they've ever announced when this is actually going to come out, but they're just now announcing the cast, so I don't think they have that set yet.
Yeah, I was just looking to see. Nothing seems to be related to when they're in production, when the show is coming out. IMDb. I don't know how accurate this is. IMDb shows 2 seasons. It'd be hard to imagine that they've picked this up for 2 seasons already, but anything's
It's
possible.
Amazon. They might have made the commitment.
That's true.
Yeah. It is fairly common. Well, no, I wouldn't say fairly common, but it is a bit more than usual that they do just see the pilot and already commit to 1 to 2 seasons for just a pilot. So,
although I don't even think they made a pilot of this yet, because again, they just announced the cast. So, and I don't think the strength of Brian K. Vaughan, as amazing a writer as he is, would get them 2 seasons. So that may be an IMDb goof, or just a slight mistake. All right, now we're continuing. I guess that's not. I was going to say we're continuing with the cartoon, but that's going to be a live action series. So
yeah,
even though it's based on a comic book. Anyway, that has nothing to do with our next topic. So we're going to go right into that topic, which is the only image that has been put out so far for the just announced sequel adult animated series on Fox called Bedrock, which is the sequel to the Flintstones. Finally being executive produced by Elizabeth Banks. It is, when we say, and again, adult animated series, and it's on Fox, that means it's adult in the sense of Family Guy.
PG-13.
Exactly, yeah. We'll follow the Flintstone family 2 decades after the original, with Fred on the brink of retirement and a 20-something Pebbles embarking on her new career. And apparently, Bam Bam owns we'll find this evolution harder than a swing from Bam Bam's club. I thought he owned a club, but no.
I do have some thoughts on that.
Thought away.
Okay, so because of my autistic brain, I'm recalling the ABC Flintstones animated films, I Yabba Dabba Doo and Holly Rockabye Baby.
Yep.
And so I'm going in canonically thinking, is this in the same timeline? Because that would be so dope.
So I would think not, because in that one, Pebbles moved to Hollywood, right? Or Holly Rock.
Yes, Holly Rock, yes.
And they haven't made any indication of that. And this is, in fact, called Bedrock. So
okay, yeah, true.
One assumes they're still in bed.
Honestly, when you just finished the description, I'm just like, this is just Roseanne, but like, bedrock.
Well, I mean, the Flintstones weren't exactly the most innovative. Wasn't exactly the most innovative concept in animation.
Well, at the time it was. It was the Jetsons or the Flintstones were the first. I think the Flintstones were the first primetime animated comedy aimed at adults because it was
Fair
aimed
enough.
at the adult, comic audience at the time.
Now, did it?
It
Now,
wasn't. It wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah,
No.
no.
but what came? But what came first though? Was it the Honeymooners or was it the Flintstones?
Oh, the Honeymooners.
Honeymooners.
There's no question. The Flintstones is a riff on the Honeymooners.
Yes,
Absolutely, 100%.
So the Flintstones ran from 1960 to 1966. 167 episodes in 6 years. Man,
Those were
guys,
the days.
those guys could draw fast back in the day.
Well,
it helps when you use the same background and you just
exactly,
Same background, you had like 40
and the same tired jokes. The same tired jokes.
But it really does sound like a Stone Age Roseanne comedy, which I had nothing against Roseanne. Like I enjoyed the original and some of the reboot.
Wow.
And some of the reboot.
By comparison, the Jetsons came out, ran from 62 to 63, and they cranked out 75 episodes in 2 seasons. So Hanna-Barbera had a lot of people on the working the pencils back in the day.
They sure did. Aaron Medina, just a second. Aaron Medina, welcome to the show. Again,
howdy.
Toss in any comments that you might have.
Let's dive in. I like this. I mean, I remember coming home from elementary school and junior high, and I'd throw the Flintstones on afternoon cartoon hour, 2 hours, whatever it was. It's silly, it's goofy, it's it's like so many things. It's a loose adaptation of the Honeymooners, less loose than some actually, but it was always a good goofy thing. I mean, we actually just made a joke about the the last night in our No Nerd Caliber show. Somebody made a comment about the pterodactyl can opener and just classic stuff. So I mean, I like Elizabeth Banks. I think she's got the potential to do some really cool stuff with this. I think when they say adult, they mean that people have grown up, not that it's adult themed or oriented necessarily.
So I maybe yes, but I get the impression when they say adult animation for Fox, I'm assuming what they're saying is it's a Family Guy type show, that it's a PG-13. There's going to be, if she's 20, there's going to be sex jokes and so on.
I mean, when they say adult animation, the first thing that comes to mind for me from Fox is like low effort use of the medium, because I look at shows like Bob's Burgers or Bless the Hearts, and I'm just like, you could just as easily
don't lump those two shows in the same sentence.
Yeah, I mean, Bob's Burgers is genius, man.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it is.
I mean, it has moments of genius. Yeah, it has moments where they try too hard and so on. But then again, any animated show does. But Luminous, welcome back to the show. Hello, all. I'll be curious to see if Gazoo returns.
Me too.
Deep
I'm
cut,
here for
Luminous.
Gazoo.
Deep cut. All right. Speaking of deep cuts, har. Time to move on to our next, definitely not adult animated funny comedy, and that is the newest trailer dropped for the Netflix anime Yosuke. And that's one of the images from the new anime. Of course, this is, if you don't know, this is based on the real character, a black African who wound up working for Oda Nobunaga as a samurai during the end of the Warring States faction, or whatever they call it in Japan.
The Sengoku era.
Yes. And it looks awesome. It sounds fantastic. Lakeith Stanfield is perfect. I think what Byron's about to get into is it gets us a lot more of the story, and it's kind of a pretty traditional anime. I mean, there's demons and magic, and
yes,
it is not a historical take on Yasuke.
No, it's about as historically accurate as Hamilton is to the life of the actual life of Alexander Hamilton.
And that's not a problem.
No, not at all. I mean, it's a very loose adaptation. First of all, Yosuke did not continue living in Japan after the fall of Nobunaga. He was sent right back to his masters in the States and never heard from again. So I'm definitely intrigued to see how many, like, the amount of liberties that are taken with the story.
Yeah. Yeah. Clearly, after that, the assumption is, and they make this point. Somebody says this to somebody in the show that, he should no longer even be alive or around, and obviously that's part of the story. That's probably why he's out doing much more dangerous stuff like hunting demons as opposed to, just fighting samurai wars. Like, that's not dangerous.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Hunting demons sounds a lot more fun.
So anyway, it looks great. I've been looking forward to this. Let's see. It is coming out in, come on. April 29th. There we go.
That's
April
only a couple
29th.
days away.
Yeah, that's just a couple of days away. Dang it. That's another thing that we've got to get on our list.
Yes. I guess I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Yeah, or if nothing else, I mean, that could definitely be a topic for one of our upcoming Anime Octane shows. So,
I need to sign up for that.
Yep. Maybe not this Mondays. I think this Monday we're going to be doing Tokyo Revengers, but we'll talk about that later on.
Yes.
But anyway, going from historical samurai fighting non-historical demons to one of the most wholesome things that ever existed in the history of the world, and that is they are making a biopic of Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets.
Woo!
I'm really looking forward to this. This is apparently being done, for Disney. It doesn't say whether it's going to be for movie release or Disney Plus. And the blurb here is the movie will home in on Henson's journey to convince broadcasters that the Muppets was a great idea and how he worked to get the characters on the air, where they became, as they put it here, a comedy staple. And they don't call it an education staple, which, it should be as well.
Should be also.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Have they announced casting yet?
Nope. Literally just that it's happening. And who's writing it? Somebody named Michael Mitnick. Let me see if I can find his. Wrote The Giver, and something called The Current War.
I haven't really heard much about The Giver. Like, it was like a blip and then it was gone.
It was super popular for a time.
I mean, I'll be honest that if this is anything as close to the Mr. Rogers one, like it's gonna be all TV.
Yeah,
like 2 hours of.
That's
TV.
okay.
Yes, I'm just gonna throw in my fan casting for the role of Jim Henson, Adam Driver.
Okay, I can see that.
Yes, he has like a lot of those features of a very young Jim Henson.
So you never like seen anything about, like, you're never seeing a video about Jim Henson himself talking or being interviewed or anything like that? I wouldn't know if that would be fitting or not. Based on the looks, yeah, I agree with you.
He has like a lot, like he has like that style of voice of a voice actor where where it's very mild mannered when they're not in character. So like it was always a very soothing voice.
Yep.
And like I recall, like even from watching the Jim Henson Hour, which that was a criminally underrated show, how like listening to him talk was a big part of that experience for me growing up. And I still get sad thinking about his passing. I was in elementary school when it happened, but yeah, it left its mark on me.
Yeah, I gotta say, and I made this comment for in the group for those people who are old enough to remember it. If they don't actually mention the Saturday Night Live Muppets when they appeared back in the
Yes.
very first season of Saturday Night Live, I'll riot.
Mucking Fuppets.
It was so. I'm specifically thinking of the Skren and I can't think of his name, but basically the Alien Worlds, you know, uh, recurring skit that they did every week. Um,
They
just,
got no. They got no respect from the cast for that though.
well, true.
Like, yeah, especially John
The
Belushi.
Land of Gorch. I forgot.
The
all
Land of
about that.
Gorch. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, that I love that. I mean, I loved everything
Yeah.
about Saturday Night Live, but I really love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, after the last 4 years plus the last 783 months that have been COVID year, something wholesome and feel good and unabashedly heartstring tugging, as it were, sounds pretty good.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm all for it nowadays. Like I'm all for that kind of stuff. You know, kind of remind
More
everybody
wholesome, the
that
better.
everything is not goddamn miserable all the time, and you're not trapped in the house all the
No,
time.
no more Snyder cuts for a while.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that cut, so it kind of.
I can't think of the actual word in Japanese, but there's like an entire subcategory of anime, which it translates to healing show.
Iyashike.
Iyashike, thank you. Which literally is just stuff that makes you just relax and feel so good that, and that's, like you said, that was, the Mr. Rogers biopic, and I'm assuming this is going to be like this. I mean, they could set it up that it's Jim fighting against all of these hidebound idiots in politics who just don't get that puppets can be funny and educational. I don't think that's the way they're going to go. Because frankly, I never got the impression he was that combative.
I don't think so.
Oh no, he was a very spiritual person. So.
All right, I'm going to throw out a completely opposite idea for a casting call before we move on. Jason Sudeikis.
Yep. He's
can see
already a puppet.
He is a puppet.
Master,
he's incredibly
idiot.
earnest when he chooses to be. He can contort himself. He's got some sweet dance moves too.
And he's as tall.
Yeah.
Henson was ridiculously tall, which is kind of weird that he got into puppetry. But,
for a puppeteer, yeah.
Good call. I like both of those choices. I think I might lean towards Sudeikis just because I know how much he absolutely adores the Muppets.
Okay.
Not Sudeikis. You said Sudeikis. I'm thinking of the other Jason. How
Jason
I Met Your
Segel?
Mother. Yes, Jason Segel. He's the Muppet fan.
He's the major Muppet guy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he was responsible for the Muppet movie that came out 4, 5, 6 years ago.
He did that movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Sarah Marshall.
His character did all that like puppetry.
Yep. And he did the right after that. He did whatever that Muppet movie was.
The Muppets.
Yeah.
The Muppets. Yeah.
The Muppets.
I'm definitely excited for that, though.
Yep. Me too. Just announced, so who knows when it's going to come out, but hopefully sooner rather than later.
They better play the Rainbow Connection.
There's so many songs actually that they could play. Anyway, moving on. We finally have some actual hard news other than casting news, and we got a ton of casting news for the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, and that is 1, it has started production, and 2, it will hit HBO in 2022. So we now know at least what year we're going to be able to get to see this thing. And I'm really looking forward to it. I love the cast. I love the setting, the time, and the huge conflict that happens in this story.
I'm on a completely unrelated note. The Deadline article that we linked in here to talk about this tonight. There's a picture of the cast and probably some of the production crew doing a table read, standard stuff when they're going through scenes, everyone's figuring out the characters, etc. and they're in this fairly large, very nice looking, like large conference space, probably 100 people space, and they're all on their own desks, 10 feet away from each other.
Yep.
Just it's it's the new normal, and it's in some ways it just kind of cracked me up, but totally unrelated. Yeah, 2022. I mean, that's more or less right around the corner.
Right.
Early or late 22, but if you had this will air before Winds of Winter is published on your bingo board, chances are good you're going to make $5.
Because there ain't no chance in
no.
hell that book's coming out in 2022.
Hell no.
Don't y'all jinx it, man. Hope. We talked about hope during the pandemic.
Hope.
Please, George, please.
Yes.
None of that. No, I'm too cynical for that.
Yeah, we'll just give George all the money. Oh, he's just signed multi-million dollar deals
God.
with multiple different venues. Yeah, okay, no, that's never happening.
That's Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers level money that he got for that.
Yep.
That's it. Nerds done good, people.
That's true. That's true. And maybe he can host Jeopardy like Aaron Rodgers did.
There you go.
Jeez.
Although then he wouldn't be writing the book again. So write the book.
That's a scary thought.
Stop jinxing him and celebrating him, but also demanding the book. You can't have your damn cake and eat it too.
That's true. That is true.
Watch me.
Don't tell me what to do with cake.
Yeah, are we talking the band or the food?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Moving on to our next topic.
By the second.
That is Furiosa, of course, from the most recent Mad Max movie. The news is that the spin-off Furiosa, which is not going to be starring that particular actress because it is a prequel spin-off, has started prepping for shooting in New South Wales. And according to this, it's apparently going to be like the biggest movie ever filmed in Australia, ever.
All time.
Exactly. Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be the young Furiosa, and apparently, I didn't realize. Did we talk about this? Chris Hemsworth is cast.
Oh yeah,
for it?
we did.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what they haven't really talked about it per se, but yeah, speaking of pictures, there's a picture of him standing around with George Miller and producers. He's like 11 feet taller than anybody else in the room.
Oh jeez.
He is in fact a thunder god. Wow.
that's
It's that kangaroo meat, man.
350 million Australian dollars expected to go into the local economy, 850 jobs. This sounds like it's kind of on par with Peter Jackson bringing Lord of the Rings to New Zealand.
Yep.
In terms of the amount of money that they're going to spend, the size of the production crew, and all of the craft tables and car wranglers, and I mean they're probably going to have 30 or 40 full-time welders in there just to weld cars back together after a take.
I mean, never mind welding them back together. Do you know what it took to weld them in the first place? The Giga car in Fury Road was barely
Jeez.
functioning.
So apparently Hemsworth was there because they're currently filming Thor: Love and Thunder in Australia. So that's how he got to join in on this thing. And there's another casting. I think maybe we talked about it, but I remember Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is also starring in this in an undisclosed role. And I know that name, and I can't think of what from what property I know that name. And it's something fairly recent too. Anyway, so June 23rd, 2023, we actually have a release date for this already.
It's awesome.
I believe it. I being a massive Apocalypse fan, is looking forward to this. Like, there's so many great things that are planned for this movie. Like the fact that it's going to be a moving movie in terms of like it's going to take place in different sections of time as opposed to just like over like 2-3 days like Fury Road,
or almost like any Mad Max movie. When you think about it,
Yes.
all of them have taken place within a very short window of time.
Well, with the original one, the original Mad Max movie, that took over a period of a couple days
Yep.
when it happened. Same thing with Road Warriors, a period of a couple days. Fury Road, same thing. This one is supposed to take like gaps of years. So they're supposed to be like,
Wow.
this happens, and then like there's a gap of like maybe a year or two, and then something else happens with Furiosa, and so on and so forth. And that's something he's never done in this series
Yep.
That's
before.
cool.
And it'd be really cool if I'm pretty sure it'll happen, but I'm pretty sure that Max, whoever's going to play Max, will be in the peripheral in this one, because conceptually Max, depending on what theory you go with, is either one person or a person that interjects or flows through narrative all the time and is the bard, so to speak. And that's in Furiosa in Fury Road, when she constantly calls him a fool and says, "I'm going to refer to you as a fool." That's a tarot card reference.
Yeah.
To the fool.
There you go.
Luminous jumping in with the great news. Thank you. Yahya Abdul Mateen was Manta, Black Manta in Aquaman.
There you go.
Ooh.
Nice.
That's why I know that name. Thank you, Luminous.
So that's
the
that's
actual
amazing.
star of the movie. So
Yeah. I mean, not to mention the movie's called Furiosa, not Mad Max, starring a young woman in
right.
black face paint of some sort. I love this quote. Chris Hemsworth. I mean, everyone makes comments when they're at these movie junkets about how much they love being there, and I'm so glad I cast in this. But for someone like Chris Hemsworth, who's been like one of the most bankable stars these days, to say working on this is the biggest pinch myself moment. I've grown up watching Mad Max. It's so iconic, and it's a huge honor. I mean, he's an Aussie, getting to play whoever it is, even if it's I mean, they're not going to put him in a small secondary role, but whatever it is, that's it's pretty cool. It's it's like when your band comes and plays the music festival in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would be ecstatic too if I was I would do that shit for free if they asked.
Hell yeah.
He probably would too, except his agent wouldn't let him. So
that's the one time I would work for exposure.
Yes.
and to your point, Greg, about it being Furiosa and not Mad Max, it can be argued, because there's like a school of thought here, is that Max is not necessarily the main character in the other movies past the first one. He's basically the catalyst character for everyone else's story. So when he shows up, everyone else's story is already functioning and happening, and he's just like on the peripheral of those stories. Like Road Warrior, he just showed up to get gasoline. Fury Road, he just got his ass handed to him, and he just wanted his car back. But he's
just a blood bag.
Yep, it was just a blood bag. Beyond the Thunderdome, he just wanted to make a trade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest. Tina Turner was the star of
Tina Turner was my.
Yes, she was.
With Tina Turner in that.
So very funny, very quick aside. Couldn't be here tonight, but one of our favorite Nerd Week Live contributors, Gogo Incognito, the first time I met her, she was doing Auntie Entity at the first Cape.
Yep.
When it was at 2015, if I remember right.
2015. Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, I've never seen anybody cosplay this character before. I want to be your friend now.
For real.
All right, moving on to our next topic. That is the much maligned, much hated Cyberpunk 2077. But the news is this is the biggest hit in the history of CD Projekt Red. Despite all of the negative press and so on, they sold more than 13.7 million copies of this game in 2020. I haven't played the game. I know there's a lot of people who just absolutely hate how difficult it is, and the demands on your system and all the other problems that it had at launch. If it made them enough money so that they can get yet another Witcher game or something in the Witcher universe out, I'm happy. Assuming they're going to do that at some point.
I'm genuinely not surprised at all, to be honest. Like, I know a lot of people would argue and say that they would be surprised, but I'm not, because their marketing was like hyper on point in promoting the game, and I'm pretty sure this factors in the cost of or not the cost, it factors in the pre sales, the sales on hand, the digital sales, all of that, and like the reviews, if I recall correctly, they didn't really send out review copies intentionally.
Yep.
Which also helps with like increasing the sale when you're not sending out reviews 2 weeks ahead to be destroyed by reviewers.
Yeah. And pre-orders just on the strength of the fact that you had Keanu Reeves doing a voice and a character based on Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
That alone probably pre-sold a good percentage of that 13.7 million.
Yeah, it was definitely a smart way to go about things.
Yeah.
And it paid off. I will drink to their cleverness and deception.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't. Yeah, it was a deception. There's no question that when they were saying that it was appropriate to play for previous generation consoles, and it wasn't. It wasn't even remotely playable. That was not a oops, we made a mistake. That was pretty much a straight up fib.
Yeah, a very common fib amongst video game companies.
True.
What?
Except that this was like literally unplayable as opposed to a bad experience.
Yeah, no, I agree in that respect. I'm saying that it is a fairly common thing amongst game studios to do that and to lie about that.
Yeah.
Okay, Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar doing the same thing when they demoed their game on a console and in a previous year console, and it looked like absolute shit. So they fabricated having the systems connected under a display. It wasn't
to some sort of
connected at all.
massive ass server, as I recall.
Yeah.
Or like BioWare with the whole Anthem debacle, or Ubisoft with the first Watchdog game.
Exactly. You're strengthening
I
my point
could
here.
go on. I could go on.
Yep.
To quote one annoying character, everyone dies.
After they've paid their $60, soon to be $70. Pakanak, I'm not gonna even come close to making all of that name. But welcome to the show, and yo wow. Okay. You okay? You all set, Byron?
Yeah, sorry. My chair is acting up.
Okay. All right, moving on to our next topic. This, again, just dropped today. That is the character Tarn, I think, from the heavy metal movie from all the way back in 1980 or 81.
Wow.
The news is that Heavy Metal Magazine is still alive. No, that's not the news. It was to me. But the news is that they are teaming up with Range Media Partners to exploit for film or TV IP from its apparently uninterrupted run starting in 1977. I remember when Kevin Eastman bought it, and
Kevin Eastman?
The Kevin Eastman, yes. Which is why it's still located in East Hampton, Mass.
That's impressive.
Lewis, you could practically spit. Well, not spit. It's kind of a hard throw, but it's over there in Western Mass because that's where Eastman is from, and that's where he set up the company once he bought it.
Nice.
But it's been going since it started without interruption. It's publishing bi-monthly now, 6 times a year. But the news is they're going to start making new stuff based on this decades and decades of intellectual property they have.
It's fantastic because I used to have a sub to Heavy Metal Mag. I didn't understand half the shit that was happening in it,
but there were a lot of boobies.
Yeah. Some of the stories were like absolutely on point, and then some of them was just like you're a mess. You're a mess because you do some shit together, and I don't understand what the hell.
That was definitely a place, kind of like a lot of the Golden Age, Silver Age, pulp magazines, Amazing Stories, and the like, where up and coming authors could get a shot with their weird stuff that nobody else would touch.
Absolutely.
And something that I wasn't aware of until I was reading this article. They published Philip K. Dick's "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep" was first published in Heavy Metal before Blade Runner came out, which very loosely based on the Philip K. Dick movie, story. very, very loosely. Published the original Alien graphic novel, Happy Alien Day, by the way, when that was first
Well,
released in 1979.
Yesterday.
So yeah, I mean, this is cool. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else. I'm guessing probably all of you guys, when you first got cable, the movie Heavy Metal was on heavy rotation on like
Yes.
HBO or Cinemax or
VH1.
Showtime, whatever
I'll say
you had.
I'll say that Fact 2 sucked, but the first one was great.
Yeah. So they don't mention in this article at all the second movie done in 2000, Heavy Metal 2000, which was made
Not good.
specifically to showcase Kevin Eastman's wife at the time, the actress Julie Strain. The character is based on Julie Strain. It's not based on anything that ever even appeared in the magazine. He wrote a whole new story for it.
Wow.
For sure.
Nepotism much?
Yeah.
But like one of my favorite authors got their start with heavy metal. Dan Abnett. He contributed tons of like material to heavy metal, and Dan Abnett, I know a lot of people don't really care or know, but like Dan Abnett is a big reason why we have Guardians of the Galaxy. Like he redid all of like Marvel's outer space stories and things like that. Like he didn't create everything, but he really like ramped it up and created like the stories that we enjoy now. Thanos, all of that, like Nova Corps. He participated in all of that, in the creation of that, and fleshing out stories for all of that. So like my man, and he does fantastic Warhammer books. Like so much heart for a series that's just grimdark.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking for the reason I picked that particular image. I had originally picked an image from the Captain Stern bit because that's one of my favorites. It's so funny. It's one of the funniest bits in the whole thing. The trial of Captain Stern. But as it turns out, when they're talking about licensing their intellectual property, the people involved in this specifically call out the character Tarn because apparently they own that intellectual property, and I guess an awful lot of other stuff, as opposed to the things where they first started publishing the magazine back in the late 1970s. Almost all of the stories then were actually taken from the original French Metal Hurlant magazine. Stuff by Mobius and Milo Manara and so on. And obviously they don't own that. The intellectual property rules of licensing things from France, completely different. But I guess in a lot of the new stuff that was created after that, they do own it, which makes me wonder if they own Richard Corbin's Den, and if they're going to make a hard R version of that in today's society, are they going to do Den the way it was drawn, like Alien Wang everywhere? I kind of doubt it. But then again, you've got something like Watchmen where they decided to go ahead and make that choice. Too much.
But then you have The Boys, which is in the spirit of the book, but not follows it exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I don't know exactly what all is in their their intellectual property house. So, but I am looking forward to it.
I say go ahead, man. Do it the way you want to do it, and whatever got to be edited out can be added in a master cut later.
Exactly.
So on a quick related side, I did not realize this. Julie Strain died in this January, so only a couple months ago.
I don't think we actually said anything on the show about it, but yes, yeah, which is sad news. Now, moving on to our very last topic, folks. This is, so I'm going to throw this out. This is kind of a spoiler, although not. It's kind of a spoiler for the finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
It's only a spoiler if you don't read comic books.
But exactly, this isn't really a spoiler because it's a comic book thing.
Well, to be fair, Rod, just on the off chance, if you want to do the thing you usually say when there's a spoiler, where you want to shut off your mic or whatever, signal.
Yeah.
Fair
so
enough.
Let's do that. If you have not seen the finale of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Honestly, I would say leave the show at this point because I'm going to be bringing up an image that would just completely spoil what we're talking about. So, um, so there's no need for one of these. The image is going to spoil it anyway. But if you want to look at the image and you don't care, but you don't want to hear what we're talking about, then I will do that. Um, you know, when I do this, we're about to start talking about it. When I do this, you can turn your speakers back on because we're done. But that'll be the end of the show. But anyway. All right. So that is the image of the Captain America Sam Wilson after Sam decides to accept the shield and the mantle of Captain America, which, as Byron pointed out, is straight out of the comic book. And the uniform looks so much like his comic book uniform. I mean, like they nailed it. But the news is they announced right after the finale, I think the day later, that there is a Captain America 4 movie in the... Well, they didn't announce. I'm sorry. This is an exclusive that was picked up by The Hollywood Reporter. That there's a Captain America 4 movie with Anthony Mackie as Captain America being written by Malcolm Spellman, who was the showrunner for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I love that bit of news. I'm so glad that they aren't, after what seemed like pussyfooting around the idea of whether or not he really is Captain America, with all that they showed up with the trailers and so on of the show, to finally get to the end of the show, go, yup, it's Captain America. There's no question. He is your Captain America. Take it or get the out.
Ouch.
And boom, just like that. Yep, we're gonna make another movie. So yes.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Like,
same.
It's deserved. It's deserved, and on many levels, it's deserved.
Yep.
And if you don't like it, tough. Don't watch any more Captain America movies. I guess, a lot of the people who wouldn't like that kind of transition of passing of the colors, so to speak, are the same type of people who always tell people like us to be like, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Make your own.
Yeah, speak with your money if you don't like it and get the hell out.
Yep. Absolutely.
You won't be missed.
No director named yet, of course. And they are saying in this article that they haven't, in fact, confirmed that it is going to be a continuation of the story of Sam Wilson as Captain America, but that would obviously make sense since it was announced right after the end of the series, and the guy who developed Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be writing it. So, obviously, since they literally just put this out and it is not an official announcement, this is again reporting from the Hollywood Reporter. There is no information whatsoever about tentative date or anything like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool though. I look forward to it. If it does happen, I look forward to it. Just like I look forward to the West Coast Avengers movie, where John Walker most likely will head towards.
We're gonna get into all of that in our Thursday show, full fat spoiler chat, talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But yeah, anybody have anything to say that's spoilery?
Spoilery. All I know is that I can't wait for this movie. It's been a long time coming. Anthony Mackie he represents so many people, like not just the character, but like him as an actor. He represents so many struggling Black creatives that have done the work, who have clawed their way to where they are. And I couldn't be prouder to see him rocking that outfit. Like, I still remember watching the Winter Soldier movie for the first time, and just just being taken aback by his performance.
Yep. Yeah. He was amazing in it. All right, so I'm going to give the
All clear.
all clear, folks. I'll wait until the actual end of the show before I give the teasers for any of that stuff coming up. I will just say, because this has nothing to do with that topic, although it is Marvel related, if any of you watched the Disney Plus commercial that was aired during the Oscars, about in the middle of the entire broadcast, and the general gist of the commercial was that the things that you love in the movies and so on often continue on Disney Plus. And at one point, they show, I'm pretty sure it was a scene of the Avengers. It might have been from Endgame. And the voiceover is something like, from, the current crop of heroes. And they cut to the incredible stance of WandaVision and Billy and Tommy in the last episode of WandaVision. And the voiceover says, "To the next generation." And it's like, all right, well, you've just said the Young Avengers movie is happening.
Or series.
Or series, but yeah. It's like, so it's as close to a confirmation as we've ever heard. The fact that they are literally putting that picture up of the two kids and saying the next generation.
You figure you have Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye movie. You have the two
Kamala Khan.
Yeah, the two kids in the WandaVision.
Yep.
The only one you're missing is Hulkling, because they did mention that kid Loki will be in the Loki series.
Right.
So you really are just missing Hulkling at this point. And I was talking to a mutual friend of ours about that, and I was like, the Secret Invasion thing, that's where you're probably going to see that.
You could get Hulkling from that. You're forgetting we've already seen in Falcon and the Winter Soldier Elijah Bradley.
Yeah,
we've seen Patriot.
I forgot him. Thank you.
And Stature, Cassie, a teenage-aged Cassie Lang because of the blip. Luminous. I hope we see more of Carl Lumley. I recommend the pilot episode of his superhero show Mantis. And then actually Mantis began as a TV movie, and that's what I recommend. Yeah, the TV movie, the series was about as cheesy as you could get. The TV movie was actually pretty good. But he was
phenomenal,
perfect as Isaiah Bradley in that series. But now we're getting into stuff that we'll be talking about on Thursday, folks.
I do want to chime in with one last thing.
As long as it's not spoilery.
No, it's not spoilery. It's about the figure. It's coming out in June, and I can't wait. It looks amazing.
Yep. In fact, when I was doing a search for a high enough res image to use for this, the toy was like 50% of everything. And I'm like,
I'm going to buy the living heck out of it.
Anyway, folks, thank you very much. That's our topics. Does anybody have a could we please or could we not?
I got one.
All right.
It's kind of a double duty for the same topic. Could we please? I know he finally got in, but LeVar Burton as a host on Jeopardy. Could we please maybe extend that to a contract for a season or 5?
Yeah, or a lifetime.
Could we please not have Joe Buck doing a week of guest hosting of Jeopardy? I mean, the man cannot speak without being a sportscaster voice.
Yep.
And it's annoying. His personality is plastic. There's nothing pleasant about him, I don't think.
Oh, you were so close to getting that right on the goal line with that answer, but no.
Yeah. It's it's kind of the modern equivalent of having Howard Cosell host Jeopardy. So LeVar Burton, yay. Joe Buck, nay.
I mean, LeVar Burton's just like a warm, lovable guy. I don't think there's
he's a mensch.
In that guy.
Yes.
I saw his video when they crowdfunded Reading Rainbow again for modern days, and the man was bawling his eyes out, and I'm like, yo, I just want to hug you. I love you.
The man,
absolutely.
Yep.
The man is just so wholesome. I have a could we please? Could we please continue this trend of like video game movies that don't suck? Because I'm not going to say a lot about Mortal Kombat. I didn't hate it. but it's like it's
Pretty faint
established.
praise.
Yeah, it's continuing as president set up by Detective Pikachu, and I guess to an extent Tomb Raider. I know everyone else seemed to like it. I didn't care much for it, but it this is where adaptations need to be going, and I'm all here for it. So let's keep it going, Hollywood. Let's not take a step back at all,
I guess if you've taken one small step forward, let's keep going to bigger steps. Sure.
or leap.
Or yeah, please take a leap. Anyone else? Or
No, I'm pretty solid
all right,
for this time. Thank you.
cool. All right, thank you very much, folks, for tuning in. Tune in Thursday for our full fat spoiler chat, where we'll be talking everything about Falcon and Winter Soldier, and there will be no spoiler warnings because that's the whole nature of the show. We spoil the heck out of it because we have to talk about all the things that worked, all the things that didn't, all the meanings, the messages, the themes, and so on. Have to get into the whole 9 yards. So we will see you then, hopefully, Thursday, 8 o'clock. We will have Anime Octane, our second episode of Anime Octane next Monday. I'm telling you right now that the topic will be the currently airing Tokyo Revengers anime,
Which you need to be watching.
which you should be watching. I'm a little less, well, we'll get into that. And then next Thursday, or next Tuesday is Nerd Week Live, of course. Next Thursday, we'll be doing Full Fat Spoiler Chat on Invincible, which we'll have wrapped up by then.
Yes.
So that's it, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, please make your appointments for your vaccine if you haven't already. It's pretty much opened up to everybody in the country at this point. We want to see you at conventions where there are tens of thousands of your closest friends breathing on you, and if that's going to end badly if you don't have a vaccine. So
You're gonna have a bad time.
you're gonna have a bad time. So please, and so in the interim, of course, while we're waiting for all of this to get out of our system and variants to pop up and go away, wash the hands, wear the mask, and keep socially distanced when you're within a crowd. But the new CDC guidelines say you don't necessarily have to worry about the mask when you're outside. So, and that's it, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. Guys, give us a quick round. We'll do it again, starting with Lewis. A goodbye and a social media to where to find you.
Thanks again, everyone who joined us in the chat today in the show. I had a fantastic time. Once again, it's Louis Correa. You can find me on Twitch on Crash the Stampede. By all means, jump on in, shoot me a message, whatever. I love to engage with people.
And Greg.
Night, everybody. We will see you next week. Find me, search for Wonder Llama. Your chances are good you're going to find me. Although, ironically, the other person on Instagram who has Wonder Llama has the same cat as I do. Go figure.
Wow.
Small world.
And Byron.
And last but not least, Byron McNeil. Thank you guys for checking us out tonight. We had a lot of great feedback, a lot of great times here. You can find me on all the major internet platforms. Look up Byron D0, or you can check out my artist Instagram, which is BDZEROART, BD0 Art. Or you can find my Facebook fan page, which is Byron D0 Social Justice Rogue.
There you go. Fresh News 24/7. I didn't say hello and welcome to the show, but you jumped in there late. I'm not going to say it, but I think that those choices for potential villains for the movie we were talking about is a good choice. Although I think the last one is dead. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. In the MCU anyway. And then Joe Biden
stays dead in comics.
That's true. Joe Biden for a hosting role. I would like to see Joe continue doing his current role. I think he's got enough stuff on his plate at his age. So, thank you all. Good night, folks. Bye bye.